Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast, the best podcast on playback, and the only podcast where we actively have efforts to, increase our outreach in the community, even if they don't work. We will see. If you're new to this, you want to be true to this, make sure you hit that join button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get the word of mouth out there. I was at the park yesterday, and they recognized me from AMP, not necessarily from Let's Keep It a Buck. However, somebody asked that I have a sports podcast. So maybe they were mistaking me for my brother, but it's close. It's close enough. We're getting out there. I did miss the game-winning shot, though, so that's not necessarily a good thing. If you're on the audio platforms, make sure you leave a 5-star review. 5-star reviews goes a long way. Apparently, Apple's and Spotify's algorithms love 5-star reviews. Don't know anything about them. P-Souls, do you have a 5-star review for us?
I actually do have a new one. This is from Wednesday. This is from Speedster13563. Best pod out. I've been listening for a while. It's a really good pod. Keep it up. And no, that was not AI. That was right here.
All right. Now he definitely did a AI. He did an AI one. That's okay though. But nonetheless, let's get into that ball talk. They're gonna go back and clap every last pod that we put that in. Y'all know that, right?
They did that when I had Liddy by Meek Mill as my intro for like 2 years. Woke up one day, 200 emails. 200 emails? What the fuck?
On the AMP Phantom outro.
Damn. I'm not gonna lie. I be getting those random ones on old YouTube streams.
Yeah, I had to delete my old YouTube streams. I got banned because of an old YouTube stream, bro.
All this content's been blocked. Future's going crazy. Listen, big three for today. We got a finals preview. We got a WNBA conversation about Miss Clark and the WBA. And then we also have a question. Is Draymond Green killing the new media? People got to ask those things.
And that's why, because it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
That's not where I was going with that. But I've got a little stat of the day, a little interesting tidbit. Every championship team since 2017 has had a former Washington Wizard on there.
Is this the new Shaq streak?
Yes, this is the new. You date this person, and the next person that dates that person gets married to him. So, I know Damo's thinking about it. I've got it laid out for you. 2017, that was the Warriors. Sean Livingston and JaVale McGee. 2018, Sean Livingston, JaVale McGee. Who won it in 2019?
Toronto.
Jody Meeks.
Is it on both? Is it on both teams or just one of them?
Whoever wins.
Whoever wins? Okay, whoever wins.
2020, who was that?
JaVale
McGee.
Dwight Howard and Markieff.
Core.
2021, the Bucks won. Bobby Portis was there. 2022, Otto Porter Jr.
Bobby Portis?
Yeah, Bobby Porter was on the Wizards.
Was he? I thought he went from the Bulls to the
No, man. Bobby Portis was definitely Bobby Portis was on the Wizards, man.
Half a season.
He was there for 28 games.
What the fuck?
28 games.
That's why nobody remembers it, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fucking remember it. so I was like, Bobby Portis.
That's what threw me off. He said Bobby Portis.
Y'all don't remember when Bob Portis went crazy?
Yeah.
No.
It's a buck.
Tell me, were you in the court the night Bobby Portis scored 63 points? Y'all don't remember that?
I don't remember this 28 game span for Bobby Portis, though.
2022, Otto Porter Jr., Chris Chiozza, and Gary Payton II. 2023, the Nuggets, Ish Smith, T. Bryant, Jeff Green, KCP. And then no matter what happens this year, 2024, Daniel Gafford or Kristaps Porzingis. No matter what happens, it will be a Washington Wizard.
Some good guys over there, man.
So what I like to hear, not from the Wizards, you fucking suck, piece of shit fucks, but from the sense of, like, if you just get those players that are misutilized, that are like one man's trash, another man's treasure type shit, we don't even need to drag this out.
The Chicago Bulls are a gold mine, bro. Gold mine.
They got like 5 players.
Yes.
Let's go through it. Who on this current Wizards roster would you want on your team to guarantee you a championship? Corey Kispert, Jordan Poole, Denny, Kyle Kuzma, Tyus Jones, Bilal Coulibaly. It gets ugly here. Anthony Gill, Johnny Davis, Landry Shamet, Eugene O'Maria, Jared Butler, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Marvin Bagley III, Jules Bernard, Rashawn Holmes, Justin Champagne, or Tristan Vuvicic.
I'm gonna go ahead and disqualify Bilal right now. I think that's just like too not nonsensical in the sense of like he's bad, but nonsensical in the shit like no shit. So for me, I take Corey, and I take maybe Denny.
Kyle Kuzma's right.
I take Corey and Denny.
I'll take Kuz. Need a stronger wing off the bench. Sam Hauser ain't cutting it.
I've already had the Kuz experiment, so I agree with Sage, Corey Kispert, and Denny. Also, Marvin Bagley. Unlike Sage, I would like to take Bilal. I think he'll be dope. And I want Montage Jones. Tyus Jones. I want Montage.
No. Let me be clear. Bilal 100% counts. I think Bilal's cheating. That's what I was like. I think Bilal is just like Mickey. Like no shit. Take the fucking.
I'm gonna go with Denny. For no reason, then we're trying to win a chip, so put him on the team. So
nobody's going with the former champion Jordan Poole. Crazy.
No, Domo. No.
I got Peyton Pritchard, man. I'm good.
No. Man, Peyton Pritchard. What? Okay.
If I was a Warriors fan, maybe. I
Big
guess.
PP.
The biggest.
Stop. Yeah, that's crazy. We did that hot take or hot ass already, so we're gonna skip right into our finals preview.
What is the announcement? Did we even say we're announcing anything today? We just said an announcement is coming. Damn.
Yeah, we're gonna start our finals preview with this clip from B Souls' guy, Chandler Parsons, out in I don't even know where he presents stuff. Where is
FanDuel.
Chandler Parsons? FanDuel
TV, I think.
No, I'm not a fan. Let's hear what he has to say.
It will be way more, violent for Kyrie Irving and Boston, no doubt. But don't get it twisted. They do not like Porzingis in Dallas. Luka.
So you can speak to that.
Luka did not like playing with him. There is an actual beef there where it's going to be every time he touches the ball, he's getting booed.
Really?
And
there's a real beef there. What?
Why?
Is that a scoop?
No, I think that's known. I think it's known. It didn't work out. And Dallas, for whatever reason, those fans, they're proudful. They're like if you're hurt, if you're not playing, if you're not doing what you were doing the years before you got to the Mavs, they don't like it. And
I feel like we don't know this because it wasn't loud like the Kyrie.
Well, it wasn't Kyrie stuff because again, like Lou just said, Porzingis is not Kyrie Irving, but there is a situation here. And I remember even when I would leave teams in the regular season, when you go back and play that team, you want to prove something. You want to show them what they're missing. The game has more juice to it. Now we're talking about the NBA Finals, and this is how it's matching up. So yeah, I think there definitely is more motivation for both these players. It'll definitely be more gnarly in Boston for Kyrie Irving, but
gnarly.
I guarantee you Porzingis gets booed every time he touches.
Really?
Yes.
He looks like Luke Combs, the country singer.
Zach Bryan or some shit.
Yeah. Now, mind you, he doesn't look like Luke Combs, but I just felt.
Or Zach Bryan. I don't know what Zach Bryan looks like.
I don't even know. And mind you, he might look like Zach Bryant, the country
Morgan
singer.
Wallen type shit.
Oh, it's Brian, not Bryant. He doesn't look like him either. I'm sorry, Damo. You want to go hot take or hot ass with that one?
Oh, super hot ass. Why did they just allow him to sit there and lie like that? Nigga, after you left Houston, you were ass everywhere. You didn't show out against your former teams at no point. You left Houston and was dog shit in Memphis. You was dog shit. Didn't he play in Dallas? He was dog shit in Dallas. You were dog shit everywhere. Why would they allow? Why would Lou Will, knowing the basketball he know? I don't think Lou will know basketball. That's the thing. Because why would you allow him to sit there and lie like he would? Oh, when I went back to former teams, I really tried to stick it to him. Where? On the bench? Your ass.
Wasn't he getting cooked in Dallas? That's when he got that bad contract, and then everyone was like, this motherfucker just gave
I thought
up
he got
on
the bad
game.
contract. I thought he got the bad contract in Memphis.
One of those teams. I don't know, but
Fact checking before that comment.
was his point necessarily bad though? I mean,
if he has no sources, he's just saying. I mean, he's got to get booed, right? No, Goofy, he don't got to get booed. I don't know too many Dallas fans that have that much animosity towards Porzingis. That's not something I've heard. And even when Porzingis played, did Porzingis play them in the regular season when he went back to Dallas? Didn't they have that game already? I don't remember them booing the fuck out of him because they definitely did that to Kyrie when he went back to Boston. So I don't remember them. I don't remember them doing that to him in Dallas. Dallas fans, let me know if I'm bugging, but I don't think that's necessarily the situation. So he's just yapping as a nigga who went somewhere and turned ass.
This thing got a max in Memphis. 4 years, $94 million.
Yep. That's what it
okay,
was.
yeah, that was the contract I was thinking of.
2016 to 2019. I mean, yeah, I mean, no shit, Kyrie. I mean, somebody can deny it. Maybe Kyrie directly will deny it or anything, or maybe Porzingis or whatever. Yeah, no shit. The franchise that trades you away, you get to play them. It's a kind of like a, I might want to show out type of shit. So, if that's only where the point is, then I have no issue with it. If it's about Chandler Parsons' own performance and experience, then that's a whole different conversation.
We're about to crash out in this next segment. All right. We're gonna go do a finals preview. The last time we were here, the Mavs didn't win the series, if I'm not mistaken. But that series has been concluded. Mavericks won it in 5, literally in the fashion that I predicted. I just wanted to get that off.
Should have been mine, but Lively got hurt.
Just want to go ahead and get that prediction off. Mavericks won it in 5, 124 to 103. Not as close as that scoreboard sounds, and I know what somebody's probably thinking. It's like a 21-point difference. It wasn't that close for a good majority of the game. This game was kind of reminiscent of Game 7 versus the Suns a couple years ago when the Mavericks went to the Western Conference Finals. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving both scored 36 points. I think Luka shot like 60% from the field. Both have 5 assists. Luka has 10 boards. Just all around good game from them. Karl Anthony Towns ends up with 28 on the other side. Anthony Edwards ends up with 28 on the other side as well. But I'm telling you right now that is not the tale of this game. This was a full-on ass whooping. I think that's the best way to put this. Apparently in like the first half, if I remember correctly from another podcast that I listened to, the Timberwolves had a 58 or something like that offensive rating in the first half. And the Mavs had a 150 offensive rating in the first half. Don't even know how that's possible. Don't ask me how. I don't know the math like that. But I'm going to go ahead and go first because this is my victory lap. Victory lap. Skip around the room. I told y'all Anthony Edwards wasn't him just yet. He wasn't ready. He wasn't that guy. It wasn't meant for him. First quarter, he scored 5 points. Second quarter, he scores 7 points. Luka and Kyrie were about to combine to outscore the entirety of the Timberwolves team, which was crazy. It was disgusting. But the answer has always been Luka. I will say Karl Anthony Towns definitely did a much better job. I do think that we were being very hyperbolic. I went back and looked at some of the Naz Reid starting minutes, or Naz Reid minutes. There was a point in time where apparently Cat didn't get the nod or something like that, and Naz Reid still didn't start. Something funky, but all in all, I don't think the answer is to get rid of Cat. I still think Cat is a very valuable person on this team. This team just isn't ready yet. Ant talked about not being mentally prepared and trained for this time of year. I think that was very telling. I told y'all that tired shit was very telling when he said it. But ultimately, what I thought would happen, happened. Simple.
For me,
simple.
Oh, okay, simple. I thought that it would. I thought that it would be a sweep. I was this close to being correct. To be honest, Derek Lively doesn't get hurt. I think we all agree that the Mavericks win that game. But if you don't agree, they won the next one, so it don't really matter. I'm putting the gun down. I'm not gonna say Ant's not him. He's graduated to me. He's not the guy though. You know, he's not our A+ student at MU. That has obviously been Luka Doncic. That's where I will come back around and agree with you there. For Anthony Edwards, anybody that's like, oh, but you want to talk about this one guy on Twitter, every time I tweet about the NBA, talks about we're stealing your ass for Anthony Edwards. Ugly ass. But like for me, Ant's kind of just like he got to a level of he's hit a ceiling as a first option that we didn't expect him to hit this early. And he kind of like had a crash back to reality, and he ran into Luka. Nigga, I'm not gonna penalize you, but so much for it. Now, obviously, was I disappointed? Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. But the nigga went from like amazing, what the fuck, yo, is he Luka tier, which I was never asking, but you niggas were. So he came back crashing down. I still definitely think Anthony Edwards is still him, if you will. Anthony Edwards is still one of those players, future face of the league, damn near. Not the face, one of the future faces of the league. Let me amend that, because I do think when we're talking about the face, dog, it's been Luka since he's been drafted. I'm tired of y'all acting like that nigga's not the GOAT.
For me, this series definitely I was gonna be right regardless. Told y'all this, man. Had the Mavs making it to the finals, but the Timberwolves winning the series. You know, so I was right. But I was also wrong simultaneously, because I did have the Timberwolves winning the series, primarily because I personally thought that offense was going to hold up just one series longer. But it didn't. Crashed out, you know, relying on, Jaden McDaniels to have the same similar output production he had the round before, which is a little bit too unrealistic. Holding Ant to 30-point per game standards at age 22 on that efficiency, affecting the game in other ways as well, which is a little bit too much. And Cat, hey man, still too inconsistent. I am still pro trade Cat, even after all of this. But hey man, I always thought for real that Dallas had a shot at winning this, and they are here now in the NBA Finals. So shout out to the Dallas Mavericks, shout out to Kai, shout out to PJ Washington, and the things that they did at the trade deadline specifically, because depending on how this final shakes out, that may be one of the craziest trade deadline shakeups we're about to see in history. So,
but he can't get MVP.
Damo, I want to ask you a pointed question. You know, we talk about player improvement a lot, but we don't necessarily talk about coach improvement when they do or do not improve. Based off of this series, based off of this year, to be honest with you, with everything that Dallas has had to face, all that stuff like that, can you say that Jason Kidd has improved, especially when it comes to, you know, thinking about his past 10 years in Milwaukee, his past 10 years in Brooklyn? Can we say that he has improved as a coach?
Me personally, I'm not too sure, because his past stints, I mean, a lot of players did enjoy him. Some players hated him. Some players had bad things to say about him, but other star players really liked him, and he was known to be a star players type of coach. Any team he's been on, the star players really didn't have an issue with him. It was role players. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to say, yeah, J Kidd improved, because if they fizzle out in the finals, what's stopping Maxi Kleber from coming out and saying, you know what, I'm sick of how I'm being used. I wasn't used right, because JaVale McGee was saying the same thing. And fucking, what's buddy name that was with the Kardashian? Chris Humphries. He was saying the same thing. Oh, I didn't like how I was being used on the Nets. Like, these role players come out and say they're still unhappy, but the stars look happy. Kyrie looks happy. Luka looks happy with them. So that's a consistent thing. So if he has improved, my small basketball mind hasn't picked up on the exodus and those changes he's had. So I can't really say he has improved.
I think one of the notable things that people will point to is Tim Hardaway Jr. specifically. Just abandoning Tim Hardaway Jr. period, point blank. It was showing like a large improvement, because
which is crazy to me, because he was in 6 Man of the Year conversations in the season.
But they're about to get to the finals. I mean, it's work. And again, talking about role players having an issue, Tim Hardaway's dad is quick to pull LeVar Ball and talk about how, hey, that Luka shit, hey, when he off the court, everybody happy. When he on the court, he hold the ball. Then random source from the Dallas Mavericks bench. Yo, we sick of this nigga ball hogging. We want to get our touches. Only nigga not getting touches is Tim Hardaway Jr. So it's no coincidence he gets benched and his dad get to complaining. And there's a random source saying, "Oh, they're disgruntled on the bench." So, like I'm saying, role players you typically have an issue with Jason Kidd.
For somebody who's watched him a lot, it shouldn't be surprising. It's not surprising that he got to sit down.
Nice.
And he's been getting less and less minutes throughout the entire playoffs. I don't expect to see him in the Boston series at all, to be honest with you. But I think that is a testament to Jason Kidd's head coaching. I think when given the right players, he's used them very well. To be honest with you, this is just time. This is just the ability to grow in the league. I'm not going to say with some continuity from him, but just as people should have the ability to grow. If we claim that these people are the smartest people in the world, the best talent in the world, just having the ability to grow, not thrown into BS situations like potentially JJ Redick is about to. Situations in which you as the coach, you as a player gets to develop.
I feel like Tim Hardaway suffers from the fact that he's J.R. Smith with no Hennessy, a T-shirt, and no aura. So that's really the issue with him. I don't see a spot on that team consistently if they're trying to compete with a player like that.
And got cleared by Giannis. So you remember that video? Greatest dunks of all time? Bro,
Man,
you watch that shit on repeat, bro.
Yeah,
Damn.
rewatching that moment, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that was him.
It's the most underrated moment in history to me. That shit, L plug. You watch that play again. It's one of the ones. It's like,
Fast break lob, jumps over him without touching him, and just booms it.
Yeah, I think our
That's when I
final
knew
two
Giannis-
was the DJ dunk on Brandon Knight, and that.
Yeah.
Ooh, jeez.
I think that's I'll be Domo today with Will. So if we're looking forward to this series, I would love to talk about basketball. I would love to talk about basketball and who we think is winning matchups and all that. But because this is, we can't not talk about this because potentially how serious it could be. Tweet from a friend of the show, B Souls. This is on top of a tweet from Savage Sports. This is a Boston sports publication. Real talk, this is why people in Boston don't like Kyrie Irving. He said, if you guys will have me back, I plan on resigning here next year. The people in Boston feel lied to. They wanted Kyrie Irving back and supported here while he was here. Okay. He lied to the people. Boston hasn't forgot. Now, I'm afraid to scroll down on this tweet because there might be a bunch of penises and racial remarks, but the show B Soul says, Boston fans want to keep acting like they wanted Kyrie back after the playoffs. Y'all didn't want him to resign. I want to know from a I guess narratives perspective, because Chandler Parsons kind of touched on it. Who's about to have a worse time in this series? Supposedly Kristaps Porzingis in Dallas or Kyrie Irving in Boston?
Kyrie. I'm gonna be honest, like the hate Boston has for Kyrie is more than LeBron, and LeBron has actually busted our ass like numerous times. Kyrie, the way Boston fans talk about him, he is a forever villain. He's up there when the Yankees roll into town, when the Lakers roll into town, whatever team Kyrie is on, from here on out, he is going to get booed. It's unfortunate. I've made multiple videos talking about that situation. It was just an unfortunate scapegoat that Kyrie Irving was in that time span. So it's going to be Kyrie, bro. Every time he's going to get the ball is going to be boos. Every time he's going to be introduced is going to be boos. Every time he checks into a game walking to the stand, he is going to get booed. So.
Yeah. I think that we can all agree, and I'm glad we put that one to bed right there. But let's talk about the X's and O's. Damo, who you got and why? Fuck it. Let's get into it.
Personally, I'm gonna take the Mavericks in 6. The same way that Biso said that he doesn't know if that he would think that the Minnesota offense would last for another round or another series. This is a series I expect the Celtics to come down to earth with the 3-point shooting. I know they've been amazing. I know they are a 3-point shooting team, but law of averages, right? Like eventually, them bitches gonna start clanking all over the place, and Tatum's gonna Tatum. It's honestly 90% hate of the Celtics and a very strong 10% love of Luka. I would say that that's really it. I don't have any basketball reasons on the court why I have it other than Luka aura. Kyrie's going to beat the races, and I don't trust Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Well, I'll go next. Shoo! Luka sweeps. I don't know what this segment's about to turn into. Have you ever played? Okay, let's play. Luka's about to sweep them boys badly. Kyrie's about to walk in there and say, this ain't about love and hate. And let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way you shoot sidestep threes. If Luka shoot a three, he gonna step back. We even hate the teams you beat because they come to confuse themselves for real contenders. And notice I said we, not just me. I'm what the culture feeling. Luka sweeps, ladies and gentlemen. Next topic.
So, I mean, hey, we all got to get it out there.
I guess roll the hot take music, man.
Oh wow! Wait, hold on.
Finally got to go and that's gonna anger the folks. For real. It's Celtics in 5, man. It's Celtics in 5. That is the prediction. Here come the cold flakes. That's how I know I got a good take. This is our year, man. This is our year. I think we pose offensive and defensive problems for the Dallas Mavericks. Not to say that the Dallas Mavericks are a trash team. Absolutely, they are the best team. They are competent. But like I've said, I've banned myself from saying X team in 6. I think that's the Kevin Samuel 7. You know, I'm not saying that. So if I got to go 7 or 5, I'm going 5. All right. Do you want the game by game breakdown? The Celtics are going to lose game 1. Yeah. It's going to shock the world. First take is going to be on fire the next day. I told y'all. And it's going to be on a pod night too. So let's keep it a buck curse is going to keep on happening. But yeah, the rest of the way we get it done. We'll get it done.
Look, B-Souls, you're a Celtics fan. I'm not. I can only be so frustrated at you picking Boston. But I've said this the entire playoffs. I'm going to say it again. Do you niggas not get bored? Like at some point, don't y'all get bored? I get bored going live only talking hoops to the point where I had to start an anime channel. But like, imagine if I had to go live, talk only hoops, and then act like Luka's not the greatest player in history. Don't y'all get bored? I am tired.
That's fine. I've also seen some ghosts before that lost to better teams. So
that you haven't seen Luka. You haven't seen.
We have seen LeBron though. So.
LeBron.
Oh. I do want to ask. I do want to ask her before I give my prediction. There's always going to be one player in this series who is going to be, caught in like a deer in headlights, a polar bear in Texas, as they say. Looks like they don't belong here, or they're going to be trying to figure out what is he doing? Why isn't he doing X, Y, and Z? For me personally, I do believe that's going to be KP. I don't necessarily know what's going on with his injury status, but I think that this could be a pretty bad series for Kristaps Porzingis. I wanted to know who y'all thought that was going to be, who's going to go out there and really just lay a goose egg. You're going to be questioning what's going on. Should we pull him, et cetera, et cetera.
Who's going to fuck up?
Yeah.
So I could be on some hate. So I'll stick to Dallas because anything I say on Boston is going to be perceived as hate, and it could possibly be. Dallas, if someone were to potentially be seen as you know what? Let's give Tim Hardaway some minutes because they're fucking up. I'm concerned about maybe a DJJ here, only because Boston's defense, they may not. They may be good enough to where they don't have to sacrifice him just being open. They might just guard the motherfucker. And if they just guard him, that's going to be a bigger problem for the Dallas Mavericks offense when it isn't just Luka lob, etc. So I think even Josh Green to a lesser degree, but no, really more so Derrick Jones Jr. on the offensive end. Defensively, he's going to be valued a ton, so it's going to be weird. I'd say look out for him if it had to be a player. I think the Mavs are going to do just fine, but if I had to pick a player for Dallas, it would be Derrick Jones Jr.
Daniel Gafford going to bring his ass out. And defensively, his biggest asset is rim protection. And I just don't think he's going to be as effective as he could be when the 5 is either going to be Porzingis, Al Horford, maybe Tatum at times. If we put in Luke Cornett hopefully should only play 5 minutes max a game. And I do think in those minutes, Gafford will be looking like Shaq. All right? But outside of that, Gafford is going to be brought out the paint. We're going to be hunting Luka and Kyrie throughout the whole series and hopefully attacking the rim. So,
something I've heard in terms of what a Dallas fan thinks the best course of action would be for defending the Celtics, because them trying to stretch the floor and pull people out is a thing that, they've noticed. And a lineup strategy that I've seen, I want to hear what you think about this, is essentially, let me make sure I got this right. They're going to put Derek White on. No. They're going to put Kyrie. They're going to try to put Kyrie on either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. They're going to try to put Luka on one of the guards on Derek White. Yep. They're going to put Gafford on Drew and live with threes, so he can roam and try to help and protect if someone tries to attack Kyrie. And hey, I'm just telling you what I heard. And and
Dallas in 6.
Oh, he does not believe that at all.
Yeah,
and because I'm looking, Drew Holiday's not even shooting bad enough to fucking live with that. I didn't even know Drew was shooting this good.
Dallas in 6.
Yeah. I pray to God that is just a take and not a
I didn't
spoiler.
even realize.
If that's a spoiler, that is. Hey,
How do you feel about this?
Maybe I'm omni casual here. If that guy ever watches Keep It a Buck, comment below why you think that, gang. I'm gonna go hard miss because I do not see how Daniel Gafford leaving a fucking point guard open is just is a good idea. Especially
finish. Who was the other? What was the other part of that?
PJ Washington. So PJ Washington would probably guard Al Horford.
Tatum, right? It'll be Tatum. Who's on Tatum?
No. So Kyrie's on Tatum. So Kyrie's on Tatum. PJ's on. No. I said Kyrie should be on Tatum because the conversation he had was Kyrie on Jaylen Brown, PJ on Tatum. He was going to put Gafford on
Drew. You
Drew
said Drew,
for
right?
the shooting. Luka on Derek White. And who am I missing? That's it, right? That's
they're
everybody.
trying to cut off.
I mean, I would love to see it. Let's see how it.
I would.
That's what he said.
Let's try it out.
Is not out there lively. Like there, I don't think he said.
Well, he's saying what you call it. He's saying this is with Gafford, whichever big. So whoever's the big, Lively, Gafford, they're going to be guarding Drew Holiday.
Derrick Jones Jr. is guarding Kristaps.
So
I would love to see it.
PJ's on Kristaps, and Derrick Jones Jr. would guard Al Horford. Or I'll have to go back and watch Open Gym to see the exact line strategy. But essentially, what his plan was to get the big to live with Drew Holiday shooting and play help side, weak side defense while whoever Kyrie's guarding, because he's going to guard someone bigger in Tatum or Jaylen Brown. If they try to attack, he's going to try to, get back there and stop him at the rim. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, Tatum is an inefficient mid-range shooter and pull-up shooter, but he's a good turnaround, post scorer. So obviously, if he posts up Kyrie, trap him, get the ball out of his hands, but you will want Kyrie to get him off the three-point line. We have a big in the paint to stop him from getting at the rim and force him to take inefficient jumpers. That was his game plan as a Dallas.
That was terrible.
No, just no. And if we have to, if we're living with the idea that Drew's just open for funsies, and then Tatum is going to be able to kind of pick his spots with Kyrie Irving all day, every day. And I understand Tatum's a fuck up. This is like the way of trying to push this game to 7 games with my glorious king for 0 reason.
Also, to act like Drew is just fucking PJ Tucker out there.
Yeah, that's another thing. What in the 2K shit is this to where like Drew is so bad from 3 that we can just be like, he ain't gonna green a shot, lol. So that is.
No, I'm saying I trust Drew as a shot creator to put the ball on the floor and like attack the rim. That's what I'm saying.
Also, yeah.
So I'd like to see it.
All right,
let's see how it happens. Let's see what happens.
I want to see a 6-game series. Obviously, I want to say the Mavs come out on top. Just because that's my guy. I would love to see how they do guard Luka. If they try to make him a passer or just say, hey, let's just wear him out and make him score the ball. I don't know the status. Misos, do you know the status of Kristaps Porzingis?
So they haven't cleared him specifically for game 1, but he's tweeted out himself that he will be back for the finals.
Correct.
I think everyone is assuming that he's going to be back for game 1. The percentage of how he is close to 100% or how close he is to 100%, I think that's still pretty vague, but I'm assuming, because there were even rumors of him coming back like during the Knicks series. I'm assuming they've really reserved and played it really, really cautious with him so that they can not be as cautious with him by the time the finals roll around on some, all right, bro, we got to win this shit. Play. So.
Yeah, I think to me, that's going to be extremely key. If y'all have to get extended minutes out of Al Horford and then extended minutes out of Cornet and then go a Jason 5 lineup because y'all have to go a Jason 5 lineup, then I think
we're going to get cooked on the boards, bro. We were getting cooked on the boards against Indiana.
That's definitely going to be a problem. Then I also want to know about his mobility in that conversation, just what he looks like. I'm not saying that that's going to be the end all be all for y'all. If y'all do get into these conversations, it's like Kristaps Porzingis is the make or break. But
I think for Dallas, the keys to success for them is attacking that 5 switch because the Celtics do run a switch heavy offense. So regardless if it's Luka or Kyrie, try to get that switch on as much as possible. Either score, penetrate, and kick out and create for other people. And outside of that, keep it close. Keep it close. I think the Celtics have looked really good in the clutch against the Indiana Pacers, but still, I don't want to be in the clutch with Kyrie and Luka on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So that's the game plan. That's been the game plan against the Celtics throughout the whole season. We've even made that a meme on the podcast before. Hey, man, all you got to do with the Celtics is keep it close and anything can happen. If I'm Dallas, that's still the game plan. And that's the path.
Maybe it's a hot take, but keep it physical. I'm not gonna lie. You have an injured Porzingis, you have an older Al Horford, you have Luke Cornet out there. That's just at the big man's position. Even Luka Doncic should be playing physical. He's been the entire time been on one leg, but low key, even in the latter half of the OKC series, and especially by the end of the Minnesota series, I was like, oh shit, yeah, Luka's looking pretty fucking healthy to me. I'm not gonna say 100%, but he's looking pretty damn good. Kyrie Irving needs to be physical on defense as well. PJ Washington, Gafford, and Lively are probably just going to be the 3 most athletic people on the court. So I think they should just keep it physical, to be honest.
Yeah, and then for the Celtics, Hunt, Kyrie, and Luka, because they can't play him. They can't put him on the bench much. So
another thing to point out, March 1st, just want to because I saw people say that the regular season doesn't matter in these conversations. I don't know why. March 1st, post-trade deadline, they had PJ Washington on the court. Daniel Gafford only played 6 minutes, but the Mavericks lost to the Boston Celtics 110-136. Luka Doncic had 37. The rest, everybody had a pretty pedestrian game. And then the Boston Celtics, everybody, Jason Tatum had 32. Jaylen Brown had 25. KP had 24. Derek White had a 13-8-7 game, just some stat sheet stuffers. They have a deep team. And then the other game that they played January 22nd, this was, pre-trade deadline. The Boston Celtics won again, 119-110. Jason Tatum went for 39. Jaylen Brown went for 34. And then, Luka Doncic went for 33. Kyrie went for 23. I want to see how the 2 stars play. That's another thing that I'm really looking at. Before we get out of this segment, Who does a ring do more for between the two number ones, if there's a number one on Boston, but between the two number ones on their teams?
Eric White with a ring doesn't really move me, so I'd say Luka
Luka or
Doncic.
Tatum. Who does more with a ring? What happens more with a ring?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I definitely think a ring for Luka would do way more than a ring for Jaylen Brown. Luka getting a ring would kind of establish him as the face of the NBA, in my opinion. If he goes out there, gets the Finals MVP, dominates, the push for Luka being the face of the league will be a lot more easier. Jaylen Brown getting a ring, I mean, it's just gonna be Jaylen Brown with a ring. It's gonna be a good player, great team. He has a great number two, probably the best number two in the league outside of Kyrie and Jason Tatum. So him winning a ring is kind of going to be like he has to really dominate. Like Jaylen Brown has to average 40 for it to really do more than what it would do for Luka.
Yeah. Zinger wasn't even here for like majority of the postseason, so him winning a ring doesn't do but so much. But when we're talking about Luka Doncic, one, it gets him out of the conversations that people try to anoint in terms of current day players like Anthony Edwards, SGA, any Jalen Brunson, really any guard that hoops for like 50 games that people try to say, hey, he's better than Luka. He kind of distances himself there. So for the current game, definitely Luka Doncic. And all-time conversations, I also would say Luka Doncic because the only thing that we've questioned this guy, what is it, his fifth, sixth year in the league, is, hey, are you going to win a championship? And that kind of is very telling as to how great this guy truly is. So if he's already getting ring one, year 5, 6 into the league, ultimately now we're going to put him in conversations that aren't too far off from like a Nikola Jokic, for example, because people are ready to put Jokic in like the top 15. People are ready to put Jokic in the top 10 damn near. And that's off of one championship. Giannis, top 20 off of one championship. Luka Doncic is not far off from a talent perspective than either of them. I think he's the GOAT. So if Luka gets a ring here and let alone just continues to hoop like he currently is right now, and God forbid he gets better, yeah, I think this definitely matters more for Luka.
I think in terms of which needle gets pushed more in terms of all-time conversations is probably Luka. But in terms of how much doubt would be stopped, it would be Jason Tatum. I just feel like him getting a ring as a number one would answer a lot of questions about his ability as a player, you know, and if it was the right choice to build around him as a number one for the Celtics. If he doesn't, we might actually have to reevaluate them Jaylen Brown, JT, who's the number one talks if he doesn't. But if he does get it done this year, I think it would be justification for all these questionable moves that the Celtics have made over the last 2 seasons, them letting go of Marcus Smart, then letting go of, you know, Rob Will, moving on from Kyrie, moving on from Kemba to build around specifically JT. So, yeah.
Elite class that both Jason Tatum and Luka are in. I think Jaylen Brown's just a little bit older for those that were saying Jaylen Brown. 26. At 26, Luka before 26, he is Luka is 25. But we're talking 25, I think. But we're talking about people who won their first ring at those ages. Scottie Pippen had one. IT had one at 28. Havlicek had one at 23. Giannis had one at 26. Wade had one at 24. KG was 32. Dirk 32. David Robinson 32. Let me go ahead and scroll down to some of the more prominent names on this. MJ was 28. Bron 27. Kareem 24. Magic 20. You know, very, very young. Kobe 21, also very young. But Shaq was 28. Tim was 23. Bird was 24. Bill Russell was 23. But a lot of these other people, 30s and 31s and all this other stuff, 32, that would put him in a great conversation, either one of them, if they win that ring this year. Whoever wins the ring this year.
I just hope this finals isn't more justification for people to rush the process for certain rebuilds. The fact that like a lot of young teams are getting a lot of success early, there might be this push for, I don't know, Ant to get it done at age 24. And I'm like, Ant's 24. He's literally still in the best players under 25 list. Like, what the fuck are we rushing for? You know what I'm saying? And even like the conversations we were having about Vic, I get y'all point in terms of, hey, if he's top 10, let's try to win now. But I just really hope like the things that we're seeing right now isn't gonna be the jumping point to, hey man, it's year 3. Hey, Vic's a top 7 player now. He's an MVP candidate.
You were a junior. You were a junior in high school. You know all
I'm saying you
now. No,
I have a question about
he's
that.
a goat. He's a goat, man. The fuck.
Let me ask you this, because players are, playing longer, and they are on some of these better teams, seeing more success earlier. Is it not okay to have those expectations, seeing that they'll probably have, I don't know, quote unquote, 3 peaks? They'll have 3 different times in which they're legitimately title contenders. OKC Kevin Durant. Legitimately, they were title contenders, right? No matter how you feel about it. Warriors Kevin Durant, title contenders. And then there might even be conversations about Brooklyn and Phoenix, even though I know a lot of people might not feel that way. LeBron James is an outlier. I'm not even going to put him in these conversations. But the way that some of these people's careers are progressing, we're talking about Luka Doncic potentially getting a ring before he's 25. In the back half of his 20s and mid or early 30s, there should be window for him to get a ring. And then also in that later portion of his career as well. Like, is there not no credence to say, okay, we can do a little bit more here?
I would say no. My bad. I would say no because, I mean, a guy like Kevin Durant or a guy, I mean, I feel like that's an outlier. And I feel like, I mean, even if you name 2 more guys, there are still outliers because there are more Blake Griffins than Kevin Durant's. Because with Blake, it wasn't, and who knows with injury. I mean, we can say guys are playing longer, but who knows in terms of a star player if you're going to stay healthy that entire time. Because again, there are more Blake Griffins than there are a Kevin Durant. I was thinking about other players you could name. I would think maybe Kyrie. I mean, there was, if you want to say Kyrie, maybe there were multiple times at his point. I mean, this is his, technically, I would say 3rd, maybe even 4th.
4th
opportunity. I'm going to say, yeah, because you say the Brooklyn team, this team, you can say when he was on the Celtics, they were seen as continuing. That was a contending team. Now injuries played a part in it, but going into the season, that was a contending team. And then obviously the Cavs. So he had 4. Someone just said in the chat, DeMarcus Cousins, another guy who he does not have multiple times or multiple windows because of health. So I would just say no.
I think the multiple windows conversation is interesting in terms of like how these players are, how teams are vastly constructed, and most importantly, how the floor of a bad player has risen to the point where shit, most of these motherfuckers can play. So in terms of a GM, in terms of a front office, oh yeah, I actually think that you should build teams in terms of having that expectation. However, I think, and I hate doing NBA charity, NBA Oprah Winfrey takes, but I actually am going to give these niggas a win-win situation here. I think as a fan base, it's very unfair and damn near cruel if we're looking at like a SGA from this point on in his career, and every time he doesn't win, he's a fraud. Donovan Mitchell to a lesser degree, but that kind of goes to the point. My bad, I meant to say Anthony Edwards. I said Donovan Mitchell. Anthony Edwards would fall in line. Luka Doncic or Tatum, one of them can't get it done this year. Now, if Luka doesn't get it done, it's quite different than if Tatum doesn't get it done. Tatum since 2018, but in hindsight, they're both still fucking 26. But I think it's very unfair as fans to jump on the gun and call these guys frauds, this, that, and the third, because even the names you mentioned, for the most part, we're talking like, I think maybe one name I would say clearly isn't in the top 25. Like as Domo alluded to, there's more, not even just Blake Griffins. We can get better with the names. There's more Jalen Brunsons than there's going to be Lukas. There's more motherfucking, we could keep it in this season, but there's more Tyrese Halliburton's. There's more Tyrese Maxey's. Hell, there's more Joel Embiid's. Then there's going to be players that are going to be on this type of time. And now, speaking of Joel specifically, I don't think it applies to him because, he's been here for a little bit, but that's besides the point. When we're talking about like players 25 and under, GM-wise, yes, you should be constructing earlier. I even had the hot take, only 4 teams should be tanking next year. However, in terms of fans, very unfair.
It's just giving players the benefit of the doubt when there's a big sample size out there of essentially late bloomers. Not even late bloomers, but just, historically speaking, people do get it done at that 27, 28, 29 range. So if you don't get it done by then, I'm not going to say you're behind the wheel. Once we get to that point, it is what it is. We'll reevaluate who you are at that point. But you know, like let's say Luka didn't get a championship until 27. I'm not looking at him any differently as a player. So
I probably wouldn't look at him differently per se. I would look at the organization particularly closer. Now, again, injury does play a part. Thinking about it, and again, like Domo said, these might just be outliers on top of outliers. James Harden is another one I'd probably put in that category of having 4 championship windows. Some of these players are just coming in so young. You know, they're coming in so quote unquote ready, and there's a chance for these people to do it. I say that because Trae Young went to the Eastern Conference Finals at 22, and then he was able to. I mean, he still hasn't had that deep playoff success, but to me, there's no reason why that couldn't happen with a simple reconstruction to where they're here. And this is in his mid-20s, and then in his later 20s, there could be easily another opportunity into his 30s, 3 times in his 30s. Like, these things could be a possibility. There should be more pressure on the organization is ultimately what I'm getting at.
Exactly. I was going to ask you, and I'm glad you said it, because I was going to say, and do we look at Trae Young as being a joke or the Atlanta Hawks as being a joke? And the answer is
that's an organizational thing. If you can't spell it out just a little bit better, and people say, I see somebody in the chat, and I don't believe a reconstruction could fix the Hawks. Why? Why do we believe that to be the case when we're seeing Dallas go to the the Western Conference Finals? They take a year dip, they're in the finals. If we're seeing, and now I know that might also be hyperbolic, but we're seeing teams be able to retool in a year's time.
That's been the history of the league, even for the people that are Summer 16 babies. Hey, you know what team was winning in Summer 16? The Warriors. You don't know what they did in, what was it, 2013 or 14? When they backpedaled for Harrison Barnes or some shit. They took a year off, and the next thing you know, they started a dynasty, dog. That's just how it is. Hell, the Spurs, Tim Duncan, like some of the most notorious dynasties have taken that 1 year back and then leapfrog for it. I pray to God there's nobody that is a little distasteful in that regards of rebuilding a team. That's why, and hey, man, it's always going to agenda push. I think taking stupid, but I do believe in taking a step back.
Yeah. Let's move on to arguably, who would have thought, the star of the show. Some nasty conversations in women's basketball. Man, I was over here talking about the double down that some of these people are taking in regards to some of their sentiments. If you haven't seen the playback clip, or I'm sorry, if you haven't seen the clip of the Kennedy Carter shove to Caitlin Clark, the little foul to Caitlin Clark, and the backlash, we've already recorded that. We've already talked about that. Monday, the pundits, the talking heads had to come out. And when I say that they have just been saying nasty stuff, they have been saying nasty stuff. And I think we're going to get some disagreements here. Yeah. We're going to start off with the way that Pat McAfee is talking about it. We're going to see if his take is a hot take or if it is a hot ass take. I'm going to let Pat McAfee take it away, though.
Get him, Pat. Some people's favorite WWE Raw announcer.
That's disgusting.
Yo, is she what? I don't know. With my eyes, I couldn't see if she's Caucasian or not. So I think what we're trying to say is what the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby. That is old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. And is it because she stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple-year success story? Is it because she would go on to break the entire points records in the history of the NCAA, not just the women's record by Kelsey Plum, shout out, but also Pistol Pete Maravich's, the dude's record as well? Is there a chance that people just enjoy watching her play basketball because how electrifying she is, what she did, what she stood for, how she went about going, what she went for? Maybe. But instead, we have to hear people say that we only like her because she's white. And she's the only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And we think the WNBA, more specifically, their refs need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. What you have is somebody special. And we're lucky she's here in Indiana. And that was, guess which WNBA rookie?
Let's go.
I'm going to now, since then, to be fair to him and give full context, he has apologized for his sentiments about what he said. He said, and I quote, I shouldn't have used a white bitch. Shouldn't have used white bitch as a descriptor of Caitlin Clark, no matter the context. Even if we're talking about race being a reason for some of the stuff happening, I have way too much respect for her and women to put that into the universe. My intention when saying it were complimentary, just like the entire segment, but a lot of folks are saying that it certainly wasn't at all. That's 100% on me, and for that, I apologize. I have sent an apology to Caitlin as well. Everything else I said is still all facts.
I'm mad you provided that context, because my first thing, regardless of whether we agree or disagree, was going to be, damn, why she got to be a bitch though? But he's already pretty much doubled back on that, and I think we all know that it wasn't on some hating shit. Go ahead. I'm pretty sure I know what your question is, though.
No, I mean you could fill it in, pause from here. I mean,
yeah. So about the comments themselves, look, I think it's like a W message, but like written in cursive, like written in the weirdest way. I don't want to line step. I'm good at line stepping, but like I don't want to do that. But it's like I see what he's trying to say. And what he's saying ain't even necessarily 1,000% wrong, but I don't want it to be at the expense of the remaining rookies in the class, dog. Angel Reese was a huge reason why a lot of people got into the WNBA or even college hoops. Shit, Flage, motherfucker. Well, I'm not the best at the names. So yeah, I said Flage. I'm a Flage stan. That's how I know Flage in there. But like, there's a bunch of names in the WNBA, and I'm not the best with the names. I'm an omni casual, but I'm just like Reese off the dome for sure. I think that Caitlin Clark is undeniable when it comes to impact. Anybody doing that, mild spoiler to the remainder of the segment, is a hater. That is some jealousy. But I don't want to in any way, shape, or form, because the WNBA is such a spot right now. I don't want to in any way, shape, or form having a on the rookie class. And that's not technically what he did, but it can be perceived that way. I hope that what I'm saying makes sense. I can see if it doesn't.
I think the take to me may even be a hot take in and of itself. I think it was hot ass, man. I think that take right there, while there's truth to it, I think exemplifies exactly what the rest of the WNBA has a problem with when it comes to the Caitlin Clark discourse, is that while, yes, we can both simultaneously acknowledge that she's been a really big part as to why things are moving the way that they're moving, but to the side of the internet, to the side of the fan base that's giving all the credit to her,
yep,
that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? To say that, the Liberty and the Aces, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Juju, Paige, all of these players haven't done their part. Again, not the biggest part. You can still credit the majority of the success to Caitlin. But just this taking away the credit from everyone else and just, hey, the reason you're getting paid is because of Caitlin. Period. Point blank. Nothing else. That's where I get like where the other side is coming from. But I also see, because in the clip that we were having a discussion on, like, yeah, there is some hatred there. There is some jealousy for Caitlin. And there is a factor of, yeah, fuck you for taking all the credit from us. Like, oh my God, we work hard as well. So
I'm sticking to the clip of Pat McAfee and that only. I don't give a damn what everyone else on Twitter is saying. I'm just sticking to what we just seen from Pat McAfee. Nothing was wrong with what he said. That's how the nigga speaks. I done seen a million times. Don't he got a daughter? What if it was your daughter? If I was at an AAU game and my daughter is busting ass and I hear some random nigga, hey, that little bitch 42 is cooking. Thank you. Goddamn right. Because I'm not about to dictate how motherfuckers talk. Like, what are we talking about, man? I understand if he was demeaning, disrespecting, belittling. My nigga, that's just how Pat talks. And I get it. A lot of people aren't familiar with Pat McAfee's show. Cool. A lot of y'all have an issue with the bitch word. Whatever. Cool. The nigga wasn't being disrespectful, in my opinion. The nigga wasn't. I mean, and again, disrespect is to the interpreter. If you feel calling a woman a bitch in any situation is so fucked up, I guess. The nigga was definitely being complimentary of her. And in the case of what he's talking about, the nigga was right. In terms of the rest of the rookie class, Caitlin, I don't know if you niggas have actually seen what the rest of the rookies are doing so far. Caitlin's kind of blowing them out the waters numerically. Numbers-wise, she is clearly head and shoulders above a lot of these other rookies right now. She is clearly the best rookie, numbers-wise. Hence, she got Rookie of the Month so far in the first month in the WNBA. For rookies, she is definitely the head of the class. For rookies, she is obviously the biggest draw and the biggest star. Not to take nothing away from Angel Reese and what she's done for the game of basketball. Not to take away from Cameron Brink and what she's done for the game of basketball. But so far, in college, Caitlin Clark was the biggest draw. And so far for these rookies in the W, Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw. And even Caitlin Clark compared to other big-time women's players, Caitlin Clark is still a bigger draw than a lot of these women. I get it. Is it unfair? Is it, oh man, give some credit to the 4-time champ or the 2-time or 3-time MVP? Yeah, give them credit. Cool, give them credit. Y'all can do that. Y'all don't gotta shit on Caitlin Clark to do it. We don't gotta be mad at Caitlin Clark to give them credit. You can do both. It is very possible for you to be a fan of Caitlin Clark or for you to acknowledge, yeah, she's playing well for a rookie, whatever it is. And then also give Aja Wilson her credit, Breanna Stewart her credit, whoever you want to give, Chelsea Gray, Scooblay her credit. You can do all that. I promise you, you can. It's 100% possible. So I have no issue with what Pat McAfee said at all. As a girl dad, I don't have an issue with Pat McAfee said at all. Just to clarify.
Go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, no, I think that's weird. I think that's weird. I think the sentiment is weird. His statements are weird. All that shit is weird. Just because that's how you talk doesn't mean that it's acceptable or that's how you should talk. People shouldn't run around calling each other slurs or saying things that we know are derogatory or disrespectful to people because that's how we talk. That is a senseless and lawless society. Pat McAfee knew he was wrong in the moment. He's on a public platform in which people consume his content that don't know him, and he knows he's going to get clipped out of context. But even if he were to say this in the confines of his home or whatever, what are we understand that bitch isn't a word that is used in this sort of complimentary way between, men or, just different people that don't know each other. That shit is fighting words to people. He don't know Caitlin Clark for real. I know he's in Indiana. I know he's been to the games, et cetera, et cetera. I know he said he texted her, but that can mean DMs. I don't think he know her for real to be calling her a bitch. If Caitlin came out and said, no, it's cool, Pat, that's my guy, he can call me bitch, maybe it would be different. We would still look at her weird too, but that shit is just weird. You could say that that's Pat McAfee all you want to. That shit is weird when people do it. Yeah, I think it's weird when people use the N-word just haphazardly. I think it's weird when people use the F word or any other racial epithets or any sorts of slurs or derogatory. That was weird, and it was honestly uncalled for. That's why he apologized. It wasn't even necessary. Nigga saying soft. Okay, who are you? It was honestly uncalled for. Truth be told, like literally could have delivered the message without calling her a bitch. That shit was just absolutely weird, and is just a part of the conversation of weirdness that's being had around the WNBA from people who don't necessarily even talk about the WNBA. It would be weird if we started talking about things that we know nothing about, getting into communities that we know nothing about, and in the short 2 months that we've been interested in it, just start calling people bitches and hoes and sluts and niggas and whatever slur that you want to use in this other conversation. That shit is weird, gang. It is what it is.
You're muted.
Muted.
Muted, never to lose.
Sorry, would you also agree that the statement?
Stop.
Hold on, would you also agree that the statement from a black man, "Luka is my master," is weird?
Yeah, it's weird that I think that. Yeah,
okay. I just want, because this is all I ask for. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm asking for is not even consistency. I'm asking, where is your line drawn? Because if someone goes, "SGA is that nigga," is that weird?
If a black person says SGA,
yeah, like SGA's that nigga just cuz type shit. So because like what I'm saying is like with maybe the issue with Pat is that he's not a woman. So him saying that bitch is where you drawing the line. I'm literally trying to understand. There's no gotchas being played here. But like it's very popular in it's very popular for women to be like, "Oh, she that bitch." It's insanely popular. We all know that. So when Pat did it, it's like, personally, for me, I value intent, and like I think it's like, damn, bro, did you have to call her a bitch? Now, but I don't think that I would label him like a weirdo. Now, granted, you just said it was weird. Now, granted, you said it was weird, not Pat McAfee's a weirdo. I don't know if you think Pat McAfee is a weirdo, but for me, I definitely value intent behind it. And yeah, it was 100% just like a gas up situation for me. So I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if it was weirdo behavior, but it was definitely weird lingo. And I know that's me.
Would you feel the same way if B-Soul said to you, "Yo, Sage, my nigga," he really be putting it down?
Like, what the hell? I'd be like, what the hell?
Somebody that's not a part of the community that agrees upon saying this word as something complimentary, saying that word. That shit is weird.
So you wouldn't have a problem if a woman said it? Because women say that to each other.
That's their business. I'm not a woman.
But it's the fact that a man said it.
It's the fact that Pat McAfee decided to say it on his public platform, thinking that it was a certain way.
That comment though, because I know that comment is definitely going to get fired on you, gang. So I'm gonna just go ahead and ask it as well before we probably pivot to somebody else's. Do you, just to clarify where you're standing? I'm not trying to PC get you here, gang, but I already know what the comment gonna look like. Do you think that B-Soul is calling me nigga, even in a complimentary way, is in any way, shape, or form the same as Pat McAfee calling Caitlin Clark a bitch in a complimentary way?
No, I don't think that any of these are equivalent. I don't think that the Luka Master Gotcha moment is equivalent. I don't think that the racial component is equivalent. But also, I'm not a woman. I'm a black man.
Type shit.
So if B-Souls were to say that as a black man, I would think that is extremely weird, disrespectful, and there would be different conversations had, as opposed to Pat McAfee saying, "I can only die so much on the sword because I'm not a woman." That's their fight to fight. It's just weird. It's also interesting the people that he had on the background of his picture, his little picture shit. When he had,
I remember what. Yeah, you bring back on the screen.
It was Danielle. It was Breonna Stewart. It was Kelsey Plum, and
Danielle.
The last one. Isn't that her name?
Who's Danielle? So he had Diana Taurasi. He had Sabrina.
Diana.
He had Plum. He had Breonna Stewart. So
yeah,
right players on there.
Yeah, before we completely leave Pat, because I just remember something else I wanted to say. Yeah, Domo, you were like that. Basically, everything you said was right, though, because at the end of the day, Caitlin's the biggest draw. Again, I just want to like harp home maybe my stance, and maybe I'm presenting you a chance to talk more or double down on it. I still don't like how, like, again, yeah, Caitlin is the draw. I don't think anybody here would deny that. Omar had the hot take that Caitlin Clark is the biggest, most influential player since what would you say, Jordan or some shit?
LeBron.
Like LeBron. Yeah, you said it since LeBron. So now nobody's denying that. But like the idea that like, and I'm just gonna be casual as fuck. Players like Cameron Brink, for example, shouldn't be mentioned as a star draft class, which is directly what he said. I think two wrongs don't make a right there. I think people do need to get off of Caitlin Dick, but I also don't think that it should be at the expense of hyping up a very, very, very polarizing WNBA draft.
I think when they talk about is the way that people talk about these things, and I think this is time to bring up Stephen A. Smith, because again, he got checked today too for the way that they do talk about these things. And it's interesting coming from Domo, unless I misunderstand the points, from somebody who believes that we should and could talk about multiple people in these conversations. But I want to hear
talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do then all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that, and I'll leave it.
All right, so let me. I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being. We are talking about the world's greatest.
How about being a black man?
Being black. Hold on 1 second. So this is what I'm saying to you.
Look at
that
Molly.
was corny as fuck.
Look at Molly.
I will speak when it's later, but
I haven't watched this whole clip. That was corny.
I've seen 35 of the 45. Yes, it's 45 minutes, and all I will say is fuck this clip. Free my brothers and sisters from the shackles of a struggle off, man. I'm tired.
Oh my god.
free my brothers and sisters from the struggle offs, bro.
Cow.
I've always hated those.
Y'all though, and I know we got to go to break, and we didn't necessarily go there. Maybe we should. There are so many layers in this conversation around the way that it's being discussed. When you no. And yes, Shannon, I know y'all are gonna say and Stephen A., I know you just shared that you've talked about the WNBA on your program too. You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
Wow.
All right, we got
to Molly's face.
You know you're my guy.
She said,
I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Like Molly had that in the group chat years ago.
You're
my guy, but I'm talking to you.
Guys, I really appreciate
you, my girl, but you've missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot.
Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not talk about the W at this level. Don't do that.
Guys.
Nobody was, Monica. You making Stephen A. point, Monica. Monica, you making Stephen A. point.
Please let me do my job.
Monica, you making Stephen A. Oh, god damn, bro.
Nah, First Take, another thing, before we start First Take, hey, man, look, we not the pro setup. But y'all gotta fix that delay, gang. That shit's crazy. As a person that literally, for research purposes, I know, right? Watched dead ass 35 of the 45. They literally had to stop the argument on some Molly interruption shit. And Molly was like, yo, I gotta be blunt. Yeah, this shit is hard because you niggas have to stop for 30 seconds to talk. Like the delay is crazy. Y'all gotta fix that.
Why did they
down too, bro?
But that's one I was finna say, that Shannon Sharp has a good virtual camera. Why in the world does Stephen A. Smith not have a comparable setup? Like it literally doesn't make any sense at this point. And then also, why did they stop them from forcing them to come into the studio? Like that shit does not look good. I'm dead ass. That shit looks.
You dead ass.
Yeah.
Stephen A. is traveling. That's probably why.
Oh my god. I
He travels for the finals. That's probably why. I mean, they've been doing this for like years now.
He's been gone for. I really cannot remember. Maybe Shannon first got onto the show. I really can't remember the last time they've been in person.
It wasn't that long ago. I think I've seen it recently, but it's definitely more often nowadays. If you were to just look at a random clip, that they're all virtual. Nobody's about to sit there.
You don't gotta be in person, man. It's cool. Just get it done.
Don't have a
takes
delay.
off.
You can have a conversation. Please don't have.
Yeah, the delay is insufferable. I'm telling you, it was low-key insufferable. The delay on this segment specifically because it was passionate. It was very annoying that, because like I know people want to dunk on Monica, Stephen A, and Shannon right now, but seriously, I wanted to hear what passionate people had to say, and it was hard to do that because they had to stop.
Yeah.
Someone go and then stop again. It was very annoying.
We've had to stop full SNS recordings because of delays, y'all. So
Glad you broke the fourth wall. Yes, there's been deleted videos altogether because that's my pet peeve, bro.
Let me get into, because a lot of people say Stephen A. Smith cannot, admit when he's wrong. King of it. He actually went on his podcast, which has a better camera, but only slightly, and responded to the sentiments.
You ever heard of Monica McNutt?
Slightly. Yeah.
You have now. Because she's on First Take a lot.
Damn. What the fuck?
Spectacular basketball analyst, etc., WNBA player in her own right. Ask her how it's been to be on First Take. How about Andrea Carter?
Oh my God.
Who's a rising star in this business? How much do you think First Take helped that? What about Kimberly Martin?
He's crashing out.
What about Molly Kiram herself?
He's crashing out. Oh my God, he's crashing out.
Now, I have sat back for years and taken a lot of shit from people.
He's crashing out.
Some who don't know what the hell they're talking
His camera shaking, chat.
Some who act like they don't know just because they want to get at me. I could care less about people getting at me. I just want you to be accurate. And it is highly offensive to me when somebody implies or flat out states, like Monica McNutt did this morning.
Oh my God.
Which was factually incorrect. I challenge anybody to find a show in sports television that discusses women issues, that discusses the WNBA or women's sports, that highlights and profiles female analysts more than First Take.
It's Mickey.
That's
Mickey. That's Mickey.
I want to say, as a grown man, you cannot have a mustache this thin. Like, and
Facts. My shit thicker.
I'm being dead ass. He is a 60-some-year-old grown man, and that is an insane way to cut your hair.
Oh man. Well, we just saw Stephen A. crash out live on
Crazy.
Yeah, that was okay. I'm gonna be blunt. First off, before we talk about the topic, one hitter quitter, TKO. That was lame, my nigga. I ain't gonna lie. That was lame. Under regards to this, bro. Let's say fuck it. TSO Sage has 0 subs. B-Souls sees one of my videos, invites me to Keep It a Buck, invites me to Souls and Sage. And then a year later, let's say LUKA actually does sweep the Celtics, and I'm over here, ha, 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 ha. And then B-Soul's on this live stream. Yeah, this Sage guy, huh? Oh, you know his takes now, don't you? That's lame. That is genuinely lame as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually lame. So let's I don't give a fuck about this topic right now on this final sentence. What Stephen A did was lame as fuck, bro. You can't bring your niggas up and then stab. Like, that's not even on some backstabbing shit. That's like, I made you, little nigga type shit. Like, nah, that's nasty. But in regards to what he said about First Take having the most coverage and Shannon was doubling down on it, that could be a fact, but the point is that it's like Mickey. Like, it's significantly more attention to it now. It's significantly more that you're talking about it now than then. Monica said it at the backhand of her standpoint that yeah, you are probably, but come on now, bro. You weren't Mr. WNBA, but you weren't Mr. WNBA before a WNBA was cool, bro. Like, you talked about it more, I guess, but like, be real, bro.
Stephen A. Yes, that was me blaming women for the lack of popularity with the WNBA and women's college ball. That's him in 2009. That's the conversations he was having.
Yeah, that's this conversation in 09. And last thing before I let somebody go, and especially my co-host here, because y'all have been very passionate on these kind of subjects, but I have their arguments from today. And essentially what I jotted down, and I'm so mad that I didn't get to the final 5 minutes, I want to say, because I think, to be fair, Stephen A goes on to identify the difference between jealousy and resentment, I want to say. But Stephen A's standpoint is basically people are jealous of Caitlin Clark, need to use her momentum to build the product and not hate on her. Not all the people are, but it's a lot of them. Shannon pretty much has the same sentiment and goes on to say that if Caitlin keeps getting these cheap shots, that people will even back out of the WNBA. Monica, for those that don't know, I believe college, or did she even go in the WNBA? I want to fact check that before I say that. But I believe Monica definitely is collegiate. She was basically on some, not everybody is Kennedy Carter. not everybody is like that. There definitely is jealousy. For sure. She started off saying probably. She stopped saying probably at some point. She was like, yeah, there's definitely jealousy there, but that doesn't speak to the entire WNBA. And it's very annoying when people who are quick to support Caitlin Clark are sitting there saying the entire WNBA hates Caitlin Clark, is doing all this shit when it's a physical league anyway. However, she did not fuck with the play specifically. Again, she doesn't think everybody is Miss Carter. But someone else can go ahead. If I just provided that full context, because I know the main thing is where's the full context on these things.
She played more college basketball than Stephen A. Smith.
Damn.
I would just want to know before Bezos and Domo go. I would just want to know, because he's a sensitive guy. He is, and I don't think that's crazy to say. But Stephen A. Smith is a sensitive guy. I would want to know how he would feel if people ran around saying that Skip Bayless made him. If every turn, twist and turn, nobody was talking about Stephen A. Smith before Skip Bayless, et cetera, et cetera. I would want to know how he would feel. I had I wanted to bring this up too before I get into just quick thoughts. This is from Tierka. I'm gonna butcher her name. Just sports journalist who was also had the gracious opportunity of being on Sports Take or First Take. Harvard. She says, "But I'd be wrong to pull. The receipts showing I personally tried to get First Take to talk about WNBA just last year, or how I was pulled into the VP of Communications office for calling First Take out in 2018 for not talking about women's basketball. We've got to stop the noise there." Man, if you want little brownie points wherever you can get them, that tells me what type of person that you are. I've been saying people should stop fucking with Stephen A. Smith and ESPN as a whole. A lot of those women who want to talk about these platforms, please start the YouTube channel. I promise you, the possibility is there. You just got to water it a little bit. Now I understand what an ESPN can do for a national media push for all these people, but I promise you, water your own platform and it'll come, because these niggas don't want you. Stephen A. Smith is doing this for the eyes. It's about to be summertime, gang. We're talking about this more than we're talking about, the NBA finals right now. Stephen A., you're not knowledgeable in every sport. You don't get brownie points for shit like that. You and your fake knowledge about NHL and baseball, like all that shit, you don't get no cool points for that, nigga. You ain't good in everybody's hood. You've literally got to stop that. Friends, my brothers, and all that. I thought I had heard the worst conversation about the women's game when Pat McAfee said whatever the fuck he said. But honestly, Stephen A. Smith took the cake 2-3 times over. But when I heard Stephen A. Smith shit, I had even really forgot about Pat McAfee. It was gonna be a little light pow. I don't give a fuck about Pat McAfee. But that Stephen A. Smith stuff was so whack, my nigga. It was crazy. That was so crazy.
Because they go past WNBA. It's just lame principle. Like I just don't live like that, in my personal opinion.
That's corny.
The only thing I say, I give him this. Chat brought it up as well, because I do vividly remember it at times. He does, if anything on this, he is somewhat consistent. I still don't move this way. He does say Skip made him. So maybe that's his MO. I don't live like that.
In a conversation just like that, when we're talking about
right then and there, no, I don't think he's going like that.
That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't have gone like that. He would have crashed out right then and there. Like he would have. We know Steven.
But I'm gonna shut the fuck up being said. I know I've talked hella this second.
No, you can go.
Hot take. Stephen A was right. You can go and find him talking about. You can go and find him talking about the WNBA 3 years ago. If no one is talking about the product, and even me sitting here with y'all, I've had this conversation about talking about the shit that real fans want to hear versus what is going to sell. And everyone here looked at me and said, "Nah, fuck that." At the end of the day, it's my job. If content creation is my job, I'm going to go with what is getting the numbers, what's getting the money in, versus talking about the Charlotte Hornets, the Detroit Pistons. This is the exact same platform that told me that. So with that in mind, if we're talking about ESPN, yeah, Stephen A may not have been able to talk about the WNBA at this extent. He still talked about it more than fucking First Things First. He still talked about it more than Fox Sports. He still talked about it more than all these other sports networks. I can go back and find 3 years ago having Sue Bird on there talking about a championship in her history with the WNBA. And I'm pretty sure around that you can find 3 years ago, the time frame she gave, him talking about the WNBA when the WNBA was going on more than other people. And that was his argument. That's what he said. Who's talked about it more than me? Not who talked about it the most. Who talked about it more than First Take? Which, the record show, the nigga was talking about the WNBA 3 years ago when there was not that much light in the WNBA. Now, him talking about, oh, I made this woman, that woman, this woman, that woman, lame as fuck. I can agree with y'all. Very lame.
What are these clips they're talking about? Oh, my bad.
I have one. I can.
Yeah, I just want to see.
I've literally pulled one up. Boom. This is a segment on First Take. Again, Sue Bird winning her championship 3 years ago. 33K views for this segment. 3-minute segment. Hey, I'm not here to argue how long the shit was going on. But I promise you, I don't think the only time they talked about the WNBA is when Sue Bird won a championship.
I don't think, especially with the Griner stuff or Stewart stuff. Sorry.
Yeah. So again, if his argument, which is what he said, was who was talking about women's basketball more than First Take, which is what he said. I mean, show me Skip Bayless talking about it more than him. Show me Jason Whitlock on fucking The Volume or whatever the fuck that bullshit network is talking about it more than him. If that's his argument. Other than that, the shit is lame. Him talking about
but that still wasn't Monica's argument though.
That's what I was about to say. That's what I think is the whole
I'm not
point.
talking about Monica's argument. I'm talking about just what Stephen A said himself. What he said. She said,
but what I'm saying is his rebuttal to Monica had nothing to do with what Monica said. Monica said specifically that you weren't talking about the WNBA to this degree.
Monica said to him, you could have been talking about the WNBA 3 years ago. His point was, and that was her rebuttal to him saying, who talked about it more than me? Who's talked about it more than First Take? If her stance is, oh, you could have done this 3 years ago. Well, 3 years ago with his platform, he talked about it more than anybody else would with their platform because it wasn't a draw, unless I'm bugging.
That's not, yeah, I was about to say, that's not what you said. First, let's get clarification on stage. The conversation of the entirety of the argument is the way that the conversation is being had, right? The way that they're going about having WNBA conversations. Yeah. So then they're talking about who's having them, why they're having them, what they're actually focusing on, what they should be focusing on, the words they're using, because they get to that policing words and stuff like that as well. Correct, Sage?
Oh yeah, correct, for sure.
So in that argument or conversation, classic Stephen A, classic debate bro tactic or whatever, because you're losing or you're not getting the proper response that you may have thought you would do, you find a way to get a win. And his win was who was talking about it 3 years ago or whatever was said. But Monica even said, with your platform, the way that you've been talking about it could have been better. Right? That now the way that you've been talking about
it for real, I think is
the way could have been better. So that's where, again, Stephen A trying to get a win somewhere and then left that platform. And this is what we all agree. Left that platform and then on his own platform said, you know what? I've got to get a win again. I got to get a win. I cannot leave the day without a win. So let me go home, which is really bitch made. I don't know if she wasn't on there after that segment. I don't know if the segment ended and they left and Monica McNutt was gone. Say it right there. You got the power to hold all these shit. Mommy, shut the hell up for a second.
Can we play that clip?
What about you?
Because I just like skimmed through it. I sort of got Stephen A. Smith did not say a word.
Nah, he shook his head a couple of times. He was shocked, shook his head a couple of times, and was
He
like,
said,
"Oh my
okay,
God."
okay.
Yeah,
okay, that's what he said. He said, okay, like 3-4 times.
Let me come in. Well, I was going to say
that's why everybody in the replies is Omar's about to pull it up. I assume everybody in the replies was like, "Yeah, she done Max Kellerman part 2 type shit," because it was like, yeah.
You guys may not have said everybody, but the prevailing sentiment for folks that are just joining the WNBA and following women's sports is unfair to the women of this league, to your point, who have laid the groundwork for Caitlin Clark to come in and now take it to the next level. That's all I'm saying in these conversations. Kennedy Carter's behavior is not indicative of the entire league. We are still talking about where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
All right.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Was he just changing subjects for right there? Did anybody? Why would he say that? Is what I'm really asking. In the conversation that they were just having, why would he say that?
Damn, I thought it was a rebuttal. Fuck.
Yeah. That's my thing, and I even tweeted it before the context. I said I don't like that. And this isn't what Monica's saying. Let me be very clear. This isn't what Monica's saying. I don't like how even if we are talking about WNBA basketball for once, I don't like this idea that every person who claims to have been there since day one is like shutting down the new wave of fans and shit. So I think pulling the gotcha card on you weren't here since day one is corny. However, if Stephen A is on here acting like he's Mr. WNBA, come on now, gang. That was my direct 2 tweets. So seeing this, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know where Damo's at, in the sense of if he still thinks he's right. But I'm on to some shit like, yeah, he was first. Yeah, he might have been talking about it the most. But if you talked about it maybe 10 times tops in 5 years, dog, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, you for sure was that guy. You're like, no, bro, you stop.
We've been repping women.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, bro, like nobody was. And truthfully, that's like, hey, that's something we got to accept. I'm not even going to say that's fine. Something we got to accept. But no, don't sit there and act like you was talking about shit.
I'm gonna just bring up something Damo brought up earlier in terms of, hey man, you know, do what gets you the views. I still agree with that. Let me just make that clear. I agree with that, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like in 2020 when we started we were talking about the WNBA the way that we are right now. Like that's what I'm not about to do. And I think just listening to what Stephen A said, that's what he was trying to pull off. At least that's what I heard. We've been talking about the W like this, but. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
and
before you go, say I want to get some clarification. Damo, do you feel like what he said? Oh, you just came back. Do you feel like what he said was a rebuttal?
No, it was random as fuck. He was just trying to get a point.
Oh. I just wanted to make sure before I don't have to pull it back up.
It was random but right type shit.
And let me also pull it back up because even her. Just so we can.
Stephen A, respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
All right, we gotta go. You guys.
So did
you know you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen
us?
A, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
All right, let's
You're my guy, but I'm talking to you.
I got
guys.
And all I think there is she's saying that you could have done more, did more with the powers that you had. Now, I think Stephen A is definitely a pump faker with the powers that he has. I think if given the opportunity, and we would be dissecting what he could and couldn't do. I don't think Stephen A would have brought on Sue Bird. I think he would have kept it Knicks.
When do the WNBA finals happen? Because all I know is Stephen A literally takes time off of First Take when the NFL season is done and the NBA season is done. Like, he will literally put the B team, or maybe not him, but First Take will literally put the B team on there for like 2 to 3 weeks, and Stephen A is just off of work.
Is it not like
July, August? That's about the time right there, Bezos. I don't know.
July, August, man. But that's what I'm saying. I just listen. All the times I've been watching First Take, maybe they have brought up women in the past before, but let's just keep it a stack. The crux of that show, it is an NBA and NFL show.
Correct.
It is an NBA NFL show. After that, probably
Fight.
Men's football, maybe fighting. Like when Max was on there, they would talk about the latest big boxing fight or whatever, biggest MMA fight, and then college football, and then you talk about baseball here and there. You talk about Ohtani. Y'all don't talk about hockey. So I don't know, bro. Just don't lie about what your platform is truly made of, or the core of your platform, what it is.
I don't think he's saying that's the core of his platform, but I mean, again, as a person who wasn't checking for the WNBA, I don't know how you would say that if he was talking about it back then, because you didn't care about it back then. No, I'm not gonna say none of us. I didn't. Souls, I know you didn't. Sage, it's safe to assume I don't think you did. Omar, I won't speak for you. You got fucking season tickets. You could have easily been talking about WNBA. You could have cared about WNBA back then. Not gonna say you. But if we weren't checking for it, we damn sure. I know I wasn't watching First Take in 2021. Were you, Souls? Yeah, were you done with it by then? Sage, were you done with it by then?
I'm still watching. 21?
That's the thing I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to be a dick, but yeah, that's the thing. Niggas could have been tuned in. I had to be tuned in, especially when I was making basketball content. I had to be tuned in. So there would be times listening to the radio, anything like that, especially even before then. Yeah, nah, them niggas went to.
But I'm not gonna give people brownie points because they're doing it. I'm really, really not. Smart conversations. Smart should be left for the smart people. I'm not giving you brownie points from trying. I'm too old for that, especially when we're having the conversations for adults. Brownie points are for babies. They're for dogs when you're training them. They're for kids when they're learning something new. To me, oh, you attempted, you got it. Okay, I see what path you're on. You're right. When we talk about grown people with the opportunity to do bigger and better with their platform, if Stephen A is this big bad wolf that he claims that he is, he could have brought on all these people. He could have had more entertaining or more introspective conversations, smarter conversations. Same thing with Pat McAfee. You could have done all this without dumbing it down to, yo, this bitch is the one doing it. You could have did all that without sunning the people that you bring on your platform by saying, hey, didn't nobody even really hear about y'all before I got on this shit. Okay, I made y'all. That would be so like that. To me, that shit is so weird, and I'm not about to. Stephen A. Round of applause, be so. Stephen A. Round of applause.
I thought you were doing a bit. My bad.
I didn't know it was a command.
I'm not about to do that because he brought on Stu Bird for 40 seconds back in 2019, and 20 of the 40 seconds is. Now, what if we lowered the rim? Like, I'm not doing that shit, bro. I'm just not. That's me personally, though.
No, it's cool. You don't have to. I just feel like if no one else is talking about WNBA and that nigga's talking about it 5 times, especially when no one gives a fuck about the WNBA, and we can all agree ESPN is about their ratings, so they are not likely to do some shit that would affect their ratings. I'm just saying. Again, it was super random. It was super, super random. Didn't have anything to do with the conversation. But if he says who's talking about it more, and she said, "Oh, you could have been doing this 3 years ago." No, the fuck he couldn't, because he don't own First Take. He's just their most tap dancing ass nigga. That's really what he is.
He has a sports radio show though. He has a sports radio show. He's maintained his own platform for a minute. Now, mind you, he's still an ESPN child. He is still an ESPN child. But also, you can't go out and say I'm the big bad wolf. You cannot say that then. Oh, I got all this stain over at ESPN. It sounds like
fair. That's fair. I agree with you there. I'm just saying, again, with what he said, I don't think the nigga was lying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Nigga wasn't lying. And she rebutted with, you could have been doing this shit 3 years ago. He was doing it more than other motherfuckers 3 years ago, which was what he said. That's all I'm saying. Everything else can be lame. Everything else was lame.
I hear you, but again, I'm not going to. If we were in an argument, Domo, about you dropping a glass and breaking it, and then you said, who's the tallest one on the podcast? I don't think Sage should come in there and be like, well, he is the tallest. What are we talking about? He just broke a glass. We're not talking about who's the tallest on the podcast. That's silly. That is silly to me. That's silly.
Just random cherry pick context. Whether this helps or hurts anyone, the argument is up to you. I just Googled Brittany Griner First Take because obviously I know they talked about the release all the drama when that year was going on. They have a ton of clips from there. The other time they talked about her was, is she ready for the NBA or the WNBA? I don't know why that just says NBA in the
Brittany
title.
Garner?
10 years ago. Yeah, so they talked about it. Can't confirm they talked about it. The thing is, did they really talk about it? No.
Yeah, Stephen A. talked about it too.
Like, we're talking about a 9-year gap that I can't see anything on the first.
How long are the? You know, it doesn't even matter. I don't even care. I really don't even care.
Were you specifically looked up Brittany Griner or just WNBA?
I literally looked up First Take Brittany Griner just to see, because I was like, I know for a fact they talked about the drama and shit. So I was like, I know if he qualifies that as talking about it too, then okay, fair enough. But I was like, they definitely talked about that. Did they ever talk about her as a player? And they did, but like 10 years ago. 5'6", I'm not 5'6". Oh my God.
To continue down the path, we have to. we have
them, huh?
About Draymond Green killing the new media. So after the Wolves lost, Anthony Edwards had to explain some things. He explained why he chose not to sit down with some of the media members from inside the NBA. It's a quote from The Athletic. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves chose not to participate in Inside the NBA interviews, standing in solidarity with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert against criticism from Draymond Green. Quote, Edwards was surrounded by a tight-knit team, one with such a strong chemistry that it decided as a group that no player would appear on TNT's Inside the NBA post-game show after their victory in Game 4 in Dallas, team sources told The Athletic. The decision was a sign of support for Gobert and Towns, who were the subject of derisive and seemingly personal criticism from panelists and Golden State forward Draymond Green. That word expressing. But anyway, I mean, how do we feel about this? I think that's a W. No one will to you.
Been telling y'all this, man. I'm gonna do the confirmation bias thing. The new media is just the current media. It is just calling the PS5 current gen. That's all it is, man.
I don't even know.
Draymond Green is next gen / current gen Charles Barkley. All right. With a little bit more X's and O's in his talk.
I don't know why anybody would be surprised. Draymond choked the shit out of Rudy on the court. Yet no one did anything to Draymond about it. So I'm actually glad niggas are, I guess, doing something now because they don't got to get physical. But yeah, this is the same nigga that choked Gobert on the court this very basketball season. So I'm not surprised that now he is on TNT bashing him and his team every chance that they get. It's not surprising. I'm not surprised that they're like, you know what? Fuck TNT because they have this nigga on there who choked our teammate, the same guy he's bashing. I just have to reiterate that we're talking about the man who choked the shit out of Rudy Gobert. The man he is saying ain't shit, is trash, is this, that, and the third. This is literally the male version, a way deeper version of the Kennedy Chandler thing. This is actual hate. This isn't basketball. This isn't competition. This isn't TV. Draymond don't like Rudy, and he is showing you every chance he gets that he don't like Rudy. So I'm not upset with Ant for doing it. W move from Ant, W move from Cat. Stand in solidarity for your teammate because y'all damn sure didn't stand in solidarity when he was getting choked out and no one did nothing to Draymond.
Well, for me, I mean, I think that's a pretty simple take here from both of you, so I'm not going to necessarily waste my time echoing it. Instead, bro, I'm just going to kind of double down on what Souls was not even hinting directly said. I'm just like somewhat bummed out by the new media flop, in my opinion. And I'm not saying it flopped in the sense of it's not successful. Newer players aren't going to be put into the machine. No shit, newer players going to be put into the machine. But labeling it new media where you're going to talk about X's and O's, no biases, explanations and shit, and it ends up just being the same shit, just different voice, different day. It's kind of like, damn, bro. Like when I heard him introduce the new media, and I have quotes in one of my older videos, no plug, because if you're watching my videos, let it be the anime ones. But I had endless quotes of Draymond, endless clips of Draymond in that video talking about how he defined the new media as being this not even just X's and O's shit be souls, but like bringing all the context towards things and being fair to everybody, and then now with minimal bias affecting the game, and actually teaching fans who can't play the game about the game, and instead it's just the same shit. It's just like,
that's why I never believed that shit, bro. You can't be 100% objective, bro. That's why
I'm gonna try to pull it. I'm gonna try to pull the clips right now if I can. I mean, we're probably not gonna make it in time, but if for whatever reason Omar has a long-winded response or you guys keep going, I'm gonna try to find it, because I'm telling you, there was like easy quotables, clips from his podcast, clips from him and JJ Redick with Stephen A, and everything in between about how he was defining the new media, to the point where I made a fucking video on it. And it's just like it was just almost all cap to me at least. And maybe someone's here to combat otherwise, and I could respect that.
Well, you know what the difference is? You know what changed them, really, right?
Talk to me.
LeBron went on JJ's podcast to talk basketball. LeBron went on JJ podcast to talk basketball. That nigga Draymond said, "You know what? Maybe I do need to indulge in Charles Barkley antics. Maybe I do need to start talking like Shaq a little more. Because talking about regular basketball is not doing it. Just talking X's and O's, no one gives a fuck. They want to hear me talk about punching Jordan Poole again. They want to hear me talk about the troubles we got in the locker room and how I really feel. They want to hear me talk about me choking Rudy Gobert. That's what they want. Because obviously, if my friend, who I got a charge and got arrested for fighting for, goes and does the podcast with a white man.
Oh,
hey man, maybe I need to go ahead and abandon the new media and just become current gen media. Fuck it.
If that's what he did, that's just so lazy. Because I've watched his podcast before. There's so many things he could have done to actually like talk about X's and O's properly and make it appealing that he just didn't. When in actuality, his podcast is just, hey, I'm gonna drop whenever I feel like it. I'm putting on the MacBook webcam, I'm getting a mic, and just ranting for an hour straight. Like, he doesn't, like, the effort that JJ and LeBron put into Mind the Game, the effort that JJ Redick puts into his podcast, the effort that like a Thinking Basketball puts into his videos, the effort was just never there. And if Draymond was waiting for someone to do that for him, I don't know. Like I guess because he's under a company, it's on them. But I also think it's on him to still have the creative vision to get his shit off properly. But
I think that not to completely echo what Bezos is saying. One, his stuff used to be compelling, and I think that's the sentiment for a lot of the player-led podcasts. And I told people this same thing. Being interview reliant is one of the worst things. But listening to a lot of these podcasts, because I follow a lot of basketball podcasts, that's what they're becoming. They're becoming interview reliant. People don't want to hear their words or sentiments on the current state of the game or whatever the case may be, or their thoughts, their opinions. People are coming to you for the older stories, bringing up friends, telling a story that somebody's never heard, or from a different perspective of a story they've already heard before. But nobody's coming to you for your sentiments on the game now. It pains me when I listen to All the Smoke, specifically when they do their, this is the playoff recap, or this is the X, Y, and Z recap, because it always comes down to Steven Jackson yelling, "League soft, Matt. Matt, the league is just too soft." And them guys go out there, they don't want to play defense, they don't want to get physical. Then, nobody wants to see that, Matt. So I just think the league is soft. And we'll repeat that. I saw the episode, I think Domo sent it or whatever, but I saw the episode where they had with Knuckleheads and All the Smoke to the crossover. A rehashing of like 4 niggas saying the league is soft is terrible discourse. But so what they'll see is what Stephen A. Smith, let me go back. What they'll start to see is the same thing that, the older generation, the Bob Bryans, the Jackie McMullins, the, what's his name? Chris, I have his name in my head right now, but with the Michael Wilbons, what they're seeing is the same thing that Stephen A. Smith is seeing, right? And the same thing that Shaq and all them are seeing is the same thing that Draymond will be seeing. These athletes aren't going to want to deal with you. They're not going to want to deal with you. They're not going to want to give you their scoop. They're not going to want to sit down and have a conversation. And I think it's sad because I think y'all have actual journalistic ability. Like, I think that y'all will be able to write up a good story, paint a good picture, do things that actually are severely lacking in today's day and age. The ability to story tell is what people like y'all go to school for and practice and all that. I think that it's sad that they will miss out on you guys, but that's because of the way that you treat these guys. It's the same. Stephen A's got all these brothers. Nobody sits down with him for real. Draymond, you're about to have all these brothers and nobody's going to sit down with you. I think that's telling. I think that's extremely telling.
Yeah, you know what? I found a clip. I found the fucking video. It's not even a full minute because we play the full minute. It'll be somewhat kind of unnecessary, but I just want to bring attention to like the definition of irony. I just listened to this clip. The definition of irony on what Draymond says about the new media here. This shit, some of y'all are gonna laugh, man. This shit actually is kind of fucking crazy. Whenever the fucking shit wants to load on mine. Here we go. Load, bitch. There we go.
New media. Like I said, everyone thought I'm speaking like athletes doing podcasts or athletes doing media. Like athletes been doing podcasts. JJ Redick, CJ McCollum. Athletes been doing media. When you look at the game of basketball, what's been lost is I can turn on the TV and I can learn about the game of basketball. There are so many little games within the game, and if you don't understand them, you'll miss them. And so when I said the new media, I'm saying analyzing these things, talking about the game and understanding, giving flowers when flowers is due, and not just trying to bash a guy every chance that I get. It's being critical. It's not just saying, oh man, Steph Curry was great, and when he wasn't great, I'm not going to speak on it. But tell us the whole truth and break down why Steph Curry wasn't great. Can you help me better understand what you're saying? And I think that's been lost, and what's replaced it is titles.
To avoid copyrighted music, he says what's replaced it is titles, hot takes, thumbnails, and clickbait. So I just think it's all like, wow.
I'll throw Draymond Bill in this regard. I think he genuinely just thinks Rudy's ass. On top of the hate shit, I don't know. I think he just
don't
thinks,
like Rudy.
Yeah.
This is a Rudy thing. He don't like Rudy, and by default, he's going to be hard on the Timberwolves as is. He got into it with Ant. I don't know if that was this season or last season. Him and Ant got chippy, he got chirpy a little bit. He just don't fuck with him. Other than that, we sat there and watched that nigga Shaq. When you gonna tell him to get big on posts? Like we watched him when Darren Gafford was there.
Yeah, he gave basketball reasons, so
he will still teach if he feels he needs to teach. He will still talk ball when he needs to talk ball. He will do that. I just feel like it is a bad example to use for Rudy because again, he choked that nigga on the court this year. So
that's a prevailing part of his content, and because it's becoming so consistent, now you're getting overshadowed by the times that you do talk about Daniel Gafford and you do give this stuff. And ultimately, I believe you can't even necessarily break it down like that when it comes to getting on First Take and Inside the NBA. Don't go on those platforms. If you can't deliver on what you promised, don't necessarily go on those platforms. You can't get your 30 seconds and tell this person about this, that, and the third. Then don't go on those platforms. But like that, I agree with Damo said ultimately.
I'm just saying his idea of new media is not new. Like there have been so many attempts of, okay, we're going to build this platform that's going to be objective and we're going to talk about real hoops. And if you want the real and best basketball conversations, this is where you go. It is not, Draymond in this podcast is not the first attempt at that. JJ's podcast is also not the first attempt at that. And it'll just never be perfect. So that's why, when I started this podcast, all right, fuck it, bro. We got 4 dudes who like talking about basketball. Let's embrace our biases and push agendas and just be blatant about it. Don't act like we're being objective. If you got agendas to push, just fucking push them. But to act like you're coming at it from this extremely objective lens when you're not, I think that's what I have a problem with. But
before we get up out of here, I want to play a quick game. Oh, hot take of the week, real quick. Just our hot takes of the week. I don't know why my girlfriend did that. Like we couldn't see it.
Scooting across the
I'm saying,
terrible game.
I respect this.
Damo.
Oh, I'm first. Oh, jeez.
I'm usually first.
Skip me. You got to come back. I got to find it.
Sage.
I was trying to decide between the two. Since we had a very jam-packed WNBA segment, I had a WNBA hot take. Yeah, the old school vets I think I said this earlier, but I want to double down. Yeah, the old school WNBA vets, you guys, I would even dare say, have a responsibility of not being an asshole. For the love of God, look, man, there's a ton of new fans. It's overwhelming. There are more newer WNBA fans than there are older WNBA fans that are at least talking about it, right? Like, like obviously, the total number might be different. But at the end of the day, dog, there's a lot of people that want to embrace the sport. And they may have bad takes on the sport. And it's one thing where if we have like, I don't know, the transfer portal debate that you and Domo had, where something's just objectively false and someone's trying to tell you about the history of the game and you weren't there for the history of the game. But if someone pulls up, yo, Caitlin Clark, cold as shit, she gonna be one of the faces of the league one day, and you think Caitlin Clark's gonna be a fucking fraud, don't be a dick and immediately go, well, you weren't here since 19 dog. It's okay to admit that, like in the WNBA, just became really cool. Let people feel really cool. Let people try to join the sport, build their love and IQ for the sport. Stop deterring people from it.
That shit literally happened to me today. Like I told him, you weren't here. You weren't here all those years ago. Like, all right, motherfucker, you don't know me, ma'am. But I can go with mines now. I got mines.
All right. Well, let me go with mine since you had to be skipped, buddy. Mine is my two ones are quick. It's okay to hate. It's okay to be jealous. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, especially in competition. You say this person is better than me. I hate that person. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the way competition should work. And I don't even like using the word hate. Hate is a very strong word, but I'm not gonna like you just because you say that this person is better than me. I don't like that person. I'm gonna bust your ass. It brings out the best in competition. There's nothing wrong with that, but the way that people tell that story is that there's something wrong with that. And then two, please.
Setup wars? No.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh, trust me. I hate your setup.
I hate yours too.
That's what I'm saying. You can talk about it.
Yeah.
And second, if you're gonna make a claim, be consistent.
I think Curry is the top 5 MVP of all time.
Type shit.
He hasn't cracked my top 10 yet. He just hasn't. I think Steph has had a phenomenal career. I mean, obviously 4 championships, 2 league MVPs. He has a final MVP. But if you go back in his career, and if you look at when Draymond is out of the lineup for the season, if you look at Klay Thompson has missed the season or half of that season, to me, if you're that great, if you're going to be a top 5 and one of your guys are missing, you can't make the playoffs, I can't put you in the top 5 or top 10. I just can't.
So, and really what I should say, not be consistent. This is why journalism matters. Even with the Kennedy Carter situation, a journalist, a real journalist, is supposed to press while being respectful in those situations. The producer for Tracy McGrady's podcast is supposed to be able to present people off the top that wouldn't fit that criteria who possibly could be in the top 10, but he didn't. But this is why real journalists matter. Press, but be respectful, but press.
Can I just say you're 100% right. Hate and resentment and jealousy is absolutely needed in competition in sports. That's what drives these athletes to be pros. It was that time where they got overlooked for the freshman team. It was that time where the rankings came out and they were ranked 13th. So now they have 12 names of asses they want to bust their senior year, and that's what propelled them. It's that, it's like Draymond sitting there. I can name all fucking 42 dudes drafted above me. Who the fuck is Andrew Nicholson? It's that type of shit that drives these competitors to be pros. So you're absolutely right with that. Tracy McGrady, that is the reason. Dumb shit like that. That's the reason why you're not Kobe. Right there. Boom. That's why it was Kobe. That's why it was Kobe, and then like Paul Pierce and you, nigga, because y'all say dumb shit like that all the time. Kobe breaking down games. Kobe Bryant was breaking down niggas' games and challenging niggas. You're out here saying dumb shit like, yeah, Steph not top 10 because where was he without Draymond and fucking Clay? Where were you, nigga? Where were you? With anybody? Anyway, I got my hot take.
Yeah, just a speed run. Yeah, I agree with you and Domo. Yeah, competition matters in anything as long as it's still, professional. Keep it basketball. I don't give a fuck if you don't like people, but keep it basketball, dog. Everybody trying to get paid, everybody trying to get money, and everybody want the WNBA, NBA, NFL. Hell, nigga, a job at Chick-fil-A, dog. Like everybody wants to succeed, but keep it within the business. Keep the competition healthy. Tracy McGrady, one of my favorite players of all time. Yes, I'm pulling a Stephen A here. Dog, that was the dumbest shit I've ever. Like it's even if what he said was true, even if I must concede that, right? Dog, are we counting Klay Thompson in 2022? Is that what we doing? Like the dishonesty, man. Like, come on, gang, that ain't it.
I just want to speak on Omar's point real quick. I think NBA media is still missing the media guy that can push back to the player podcast. It's still not there. Still not there.
I don't think they even want it. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't think
they don't see the vision. But Everyday Struggle is the ultimate case study to me. How that shit can go crazy. But
Everyday Struggle.
Back in Joe.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely. How somebody can push back on the But imagine if academics had like a more professional background. But even I agree with what you're saying. Ladies and gentlemen,
Strictly Diggly at 39 is crazy.
This has been another grippy episode of the Let's Keep It Grip podcast. That was crazy. Be so say goodbye to the people.
Peace out, y'all. W grip. I'll grip y'all later.
Oh shit.
Believe it or not, like Ripley's.
Say goodbye to the people.
My glorious king needs to respond, and I'm not talking about Luka this time. Speaking of the glorious kings, shout out to the TSO community, man. It has been decided, according to the chat, if we ever hit 100K, not win, because I jinxed it too many times, 2 years back to back, not jinxing it 3 years. The chat has voted for a 24-hour stream. So comment below whether you're from the Keep It a Buck community, TSO community, Souls and Sage community, but you found this video. Comment below what you guys want me to do during the 24-hour. There's some things we will not do because we don't give losers second chances. But yeah, and another 24-hour is on the way. So that should be hell for me, but fantastic for you guys, apparently.
Taylor, I heard you make $40,000 a month now.
That's not true.
50, my bad.
There you go. Yeah, my bad.
It's
Mr. Grippy Jr. Say goodbye to the people.
All right, Chad's being my favorite night snack, and we will be back sometime this week. Hey man, listen, join that LKIAB Discord. This week I will be hosting my first versus event. I will be having it's not gonna be regular versus, it's gonna be a genuine. You got to join the Discord to find out the parameters and everything like that. Join up so you can join that. We're doing the Xbox versus PlayStation console war. That's also going down. Hop in the Discord for that. And also, before we leave chat, say it one time with me. School bro!
He really
Now you also lost to me in 2K. With that being said, take care, stay blessed.
You lost to me in 2K.
Just grip out there.
I have 500